All right, ready to dive in? Today, we are looking at Who Not How by Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy.
Oh, this is a good one.
It really is.
Yeah,
This one's all about, like, shaking up the way we think about achieving goals.
definitely. Yeah,
I think you're going to enjoy this.
I think so too.
Um,
It's easy to get caught up
yes.
in the how of things.
It really is.
You know?
Yeah, and you burn yourself out
Totally.
and in the process of trying to figure everything out on your own.
Absolutely.
But this book
Yeah.
really challenges us to think differently.
Okay.
It's not how, but who.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So instead of stressing over the mechanics
Hmm.
of achieving a goal,
Right.
we should be focusing on finding the right people to
Absolutely.
help us get there.
Precisely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's about recognizing that our potential isn't limited by what we can do
Right.
individually.
Mm-hmm.
It expands when we tap into the collective power of others.
Oh, yeah, their skills, their resources, their networks.
The book actually kicks off with a really cool example.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Jordan's considered one of the greatest
For sure.
basketball players of all time,
Uh-huh.
but even he didn't win championships alone.
Exactly.
You know, he had
It's a great illustration
Yeah.
how even extraordinary talent needs the right environment to flourish.
he's the right team.
Think about it.
Yeah.
He had Scottie Pippen,
Right.
Phil Jackson,
Yeah.
the triangle offense strategy.
You know, it's about having the right
They all played crucial roles
people.
in the success.
Yeah, and like systems in place.
Exactly.
So it's not just about
Uh-huh.
having raw talent.
Yeah.
It's about understanding that success is a team sport.
Absolutely.
Right.
And this applies to all of us.
Totally.
Regardless of what field we're in.
Yeah.
Think about your own championship goal, the one you really want to achieve. Who could be your Scottie Pippen?
Right.
Your Phil Jackson?
Yeah, who are the
Who are the people that can provide
people that can provide the support?
the support, the guidance,
The guidance.
or the expertise you need to reach that next level?
I love that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes, it's such a
that's such a powerful question
Yeah.
to consider.
to consider.
And you know what?
Yeah.
The book doesn't just focus on big name examples like Michael Jordan.
Right.
There's this great story about a teenager named Richie Norton
Oh, yeah. Richie and the Watermelons.
Yeah.
It's a classic.
who wanted to make some money over the summer.
Yeah. It's a classic example.
So instead of getting a typical summer job,
Right.
Richie's dad suggests buying these misshapen watermelons
Uh-huh.
at a discount from local farms
Right.
and selling them to folks who don't care about perfect looks.
That's brilliant.
Right.
Like, who cares if your watermelon
Exactly.
isn't perfectly round?
Doesn't look perfect.
Yeah.
If it tastes good, it tastes good.
Exactly.
It's a genius idea.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here
Sure.
is that Richie's father is acting as a mentor,
Mm-hmm.
providing a perspective
Yeah.
Richie wouldn't have had on his own.
Right. He needed that outside.
This speaks to the power of mentorship
Okay.
and the impact that
Yeah.
who can have,
Totally.
especially early on.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
And this actually ties into a concept
Yes.
the book dives deeper into.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the self-expansion model.
Okay.
Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, the self-expansion model suggests that your potential isn't fixed,
Okay.
but rather expands based on the people you surround yourself with.
Okay.
It's about acknowledging
Mm.
that our growth is influenced by the resources,
Oh, okay.
the knowledge and perspectives
Right.
others bring to the table.
So it's not just about our individual abilities.
Right.
It's about understanding that our potential grows when
Yeah.
we connect with the right people who can offer us new insights and skills
And even connection.
and even connections.
Yeah.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. You know, this idea of delegation,
Yeah.
it isn't just about freeing up time.
Right.
It also ties into a
Exactly.
really powerful leadership concept
Okay.
that the book explores,
Mhm.
transformational leadership.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
What exactly does that involve?
It's all about shifting from a focus on processes to a focus on outcomes.
Okay.
So instead of getting caught up in the how of things,
Right.
transformational leaders concentrate on the what.
So like the desired results.
Exactly.
So instead of micromanaging every step,
Uh-huh.
it's more about empowering your team
Yes.
to figure out the how,
Exactly.
while you as the leader
Right.
provide that overall vision.
Precisely. And this naturally leads to identifying who's needed to achieve those results.
Okay.
And the book uses the story of Nicole Whipp,
Right.
an attorney who was struggling with burnout.
Yeah, I remember that one. She was trying to do everything herself
Yes.
and feeling completely overwhelmed.
Which, let's face it, is something a lot of us experience.
Oh, for sure.
Especially when we're passionate about our work,
Yeah,
we fall into the trap of thinking we have to handle every single detail.
absolutely.
But that kind of thinking can be incredibly limiting.
Totally. So how did she
Well,
turn things around?
she had a major realization.
Okay.
She didn't need to be a one-woman show.
All right.
Once she shifted her focus from how to who,
Okay.
she started building a team
Yeah.
and delegating tasks.
Okay.
But importantly, she also adopted a transformational leadership style.
Okay. And what does that look like in practice?
It's about investing in your team's growth,
Okay.
empowering them to take ownership,
Mm-hmm.
and encouraging them to think creatively and work independently.
So it's less about dictating every move and more about fostering an environment
Exactly.
where people feel trusted and empowered to do their best work.
Precisely, it's about creating a culture of collaboration
Okay.
and shared success, which ultimately leads to better results for everyone.
Yeah, and this brings us to another thought-provoking idea from the book.
Yes.
We can all be who's for others.
Right.
I love that.
It's a reminder that while we may need certain who's to help us achieve our goals,
Right.
we can also be valuable assets in someone else's journey.
It's a two-way street.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing the reciprocal nature of relationships
Okay.
and focusing on creating value for others.
Okay, so like moving beyond transactional exchanges.
Yes.
To build genuine connections
Exactly.
that are mutually beneficial.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this makes me think of the story of Joe Polish and Richard Branson.
Oh, yeah.
Joe, a successful entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
had this opportunity to have dinner with Branson.
Right.
But instead of trying to extract value from him,
Yeah.
he focused on how he could add value to Branson's initiatives.
It's a fantastic example of the what's in it for them mindset. Instead of thinking about what he could get,
Right.
Joe focused on what he could give.
I like that.
He presented an idea for a video
Okay.
that could help raise money for Branson's charity.
And that simple act of generosity led to this ongoing collaboration between them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's proof that sometimes
Right.
the most effective way to build a strong relationship
Yeah.
is to focus on providing value first.
Absolutely. And the book also highlights the importance of gratitude
Oh, yeah?
in nurturing these transformational relationships.
Right.
It's crucial to acknowledge and appreciate
Yeah.
the contributions of the who are supporting us.
Expressing gratitude
Yes.
can be so powerful.
It strengthens relationships.
Yeah.
And it reinforces that collaborative spirit.
It shows that we value the contributions of others.
Yes.
And recognize that we're in this together.
And it shifts the dynamic from a transactional one
Yeah.
to a more genuine connection based on mutual respect and appreciation.
Okay.
The book then shares the story of Karen Nance,
Oh, yeah.
an attorney who dreamed of writing a biography
Right.
about her grandmother.
She wanted to tell the story of her grandmother, Ethel Ray Nance,
Yes.
a prominent civil rights activist.
Mhm.
And initially, she tried to write the biography alone,
Right.
but found the task daunting.
Which is understandable.
Yeah.
Writing a biography, especially about someone so influential,
Right.
is a massive undertaking.
So then Karen received an email from a history professor
Uh-huh.
who happened to be working on a biography about her grandmother as well.
Yes.
I could imagine that that could have felt like a threat at first.
It's a natural reaction. But Karen, having been introduced to the who not how philosophy,
Right.
saw it as an opportunity
Okay.
rather than competition.
Interesting.
Instead of trying to go it alone,
Yeah.
she proposed that they co-author the biography.
I love that.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant example of how this mindset shift can open doors we might never have considered otherwise.
By embracing collaboration.
Yes. She gained access to the professor's expertise and resources. Right. Ultimately making the project richer and more impactful. It's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
The collaboration not only amplified the impact of the biography,
Right.
but also freed up Karen's time to focus on other meaningful projects.
So it's like this story is a great reminder that collaboration isn't about giving up control or diminishing our own contributions.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that we can achieve far more together
Exactly.
than we can alone.
It makes you wonder
Yeah.
what project or goal in your own life could benefit from a collaborative approach.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
The book really emphasizes that success isn't a solo sport. It's about building the right team, leveraging each other's strengths,
Right.
and approaching challenges with a collaborative spirit.
Sometimes the most important step is simply recognizing that
Right.
we don't have to figure it all out on our own,
I love that.
and being open to the possibility that the perfect who might already be out there waiting for us to reach out and help.
Collaborate. So as we wrap up our deep dive into who, not how,
Yes.
let's recap some key takeaways
Okay.
that can help us apply these powerful concepts to our own lives. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
But if we're ready to shift from how to who, like what are some practical steps
Right.
we can take to actually implement this philosophy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One really helpful tip from the book
Okay.
is the 80% rule.
Okay, the 80% rule.
Yeah, it's all about maintaining momentum and avoiding the trap of perfectionism.
Okay, that sounds intriguing. How does it work?
The idea is to get a project to about 80% completion
Mhm.
and then delegate the final 20% to someone else,
Okay.
the right who for the job.
So instead of agonizing over every last detail ourselves,
Right.
we hand off the finishing touches
Exactly.
to someone who might be better suited for that particular task.
It prevents us from getting bogged down in
And-
those final stages, where progress can really slow to a crawl.
Yeah.
Plus, it allows us to focus on our strengths
Okay.
and delegate tasks that might not be in our zone of genius.
I can see how that would be a game changer for productivity and for avoiding burnout.
Absolutely.
So,
Another powerful takeaway from the book
okay.
is this simple but profound question.
Okay.
Should my attention be on this?
Okay.
Or could it be better invested elsewhere?
Whoa. That really makes you stop and think.
It does.
Yeah, it forces you to evaluate how you're spending your most valuable resources.
Yes.
Your time and energy.
Your time, your energy, yeah.
Yeah,
It's so easy to get caught up in the whirlwind
Yeah.
of daily tasks and responsibilities.
for sure.
But this question helps us step back
Mhm.
and prioritize.
Right.
It challenges us to ensure that we're focusing on the things that truly matter,
Okay.
the things that align with our goals and our values.
It's about being mindful and intentional with our energy.
Exactly.
Yeah, recognizing that we can't do it all. And that sometimes the most productive thing we can do is delegate. And that's where the real magic happens.
When we're aligned with our purpose
Yes.
and working in our zone of genius,
Yeah.
we unlock a level of productivity and fulfillment
I like it.
that wouldn't be possible otherwise.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into who, not how,
Yes.
I want to leave you with one final thought-provoking question.
Okay, shoot.
What is one how you're currently struggling with that could be transformed by finding the right who?
That's a powerful question to reflect on.
It could be a project at work
Right.
that's feeling overwhelming,
It could be.
a personal goal you've been putting off, or even a task that consistently drains your energy.
Yeah, so by shifting our focus from how can I do this to
No.
who can help me achieve this,
Yes.
we open ourselves up to a world of possibilities and support.
Remember, you don't have to go it alone.
Embrace the power of collaboration.
Find your who's
Yay!
and watch your goals become a reality. That's it.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into who, not how.
Absolutely.
We hope you've gained some valuable insights and feel inspired to unlock your full potential by embracing this powerful philosophy.
Yeah, good stuff.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep achieving great things.